Well, I called this unexpected because it's unexpected. Hey, welcome to the Condor DM show whenever you see this one. This is a sort of last second pop up stream. See, I got some time off for an event, and there was some BS around the event. So I got the time off, and I'm like, well, what do I do with it now that I'm not really, I guess, taking part in something? That's not even an opportunity now. So I got like a 2 weeks, some weird 2 weeks of like some extra free time, and I'm bored. So I'm gonna do two streams in one day. That's calling it crazy. Today's stream is going to be focused on old school dungeon masters, telling you a bit about them, stuff like that. Might help out some people. I don't know. We'll see. Uh, but yeah, with all this free time, I figured why not? I got the energy. I'm bored. I'll do this to kill some time. I don't got forever to do this. I got a little bit to do this. And then tonight I'll be doing the stream on roleplay, which is going to be really good. I promise you that. But yeah, figured I'd do this. A bit of casual time, boom, I have a bit of a script. I was going to do this, a video on this, but I decided, nah, I'll just, screw it, I'll do a stream. And usually I don't have this type of natural light to work with. So that's really nice. That's rare. And I never stream this early. I figured if I ever really stream this early, it would be for like an interview for somebody, for some like odd time thing. But here I am, all the time in the world. Yeah. Casual time. There are some people out here. I've been a YouTuber for over 10 years, and there's some people out here who think I'm a little off the wall. But trust me, if they knew how I seen them, they would know that I think they're, as a sort of community, off the wall. It's a shame they don't talk to me, because anyone who actually talks to me on here, like directly talks to me, right away they're just like they don't buy into anything, because they're like, yeah, Steven or Condor DM is a really normal guy. Like the second they talk to me, that's why I get people that are loyal to me, because they talk to me in private and they're like, how does anybody think you're off the wall? But I got some new people that are joining in. And, maybe they don't know who I am. So I want to definitely get them used to me and, them to understand I'm just a normal guy. I can be very energetic, right? Perform, say whatever. But I'm also well-informed. And, for these streams, I write out things like I do this little sort of setup. And I do that on purpose because my fellow nerds, they don't mind some of the talk off the top of the head stuff, but they can be picky about details and that. And I like to get things right for their sake. I also don't like the idea of just faking what I'm doing, like wearing glasses or just turning off the camera. Like if I'm going to read from something, I'll just do it in front of you. I just don't care. Okay, you can see it. I'm very genuine, honest, and authentic. And I got to get used to reading stuff too. It's not something I've done before. I spent years on here talking off the top of my head. Right. I doubt anybody will be around for this one. I don't draw that kind of live audience right now. My live audience, and usually they only come at night, So this time of the day, most of my people are pretty much in bed, busy, life. So they'll pick this up later. But there is an event tonight, and I imagine some old school people are running, or there's just a topic of old school right now, Dungeons and Dragons. And I figure, why not? I'm doing a bit of old school D&D roleplay focus tonight, which will be interesting. That stream is going to focus on what roleplay really is in the old school, like what it really is to old school D&D, and it's not what you think. And then I'll look at the popular view of what most people nowadays think roleplay means, like just social interaction. And then we'll talk about character development, and that's sort of a more modern take on something important to the game. It's not like completely old school. And the trade-off, like what are you getting rid of if you focus on a lot of character development, right? And stuff like that, like social interaction more than, say, other parts of the game. And then I'll finish it off with Gary Gygax's personal view on the whole thing, right? So that will be it. Now, the research for the role play stuff happened when I was researching for old school D&D. And just like the undid stuff, there's so much I researched that just I didn't bother putting into that because I could have turned some of those streams into like 4, 5, 6 hour streams, which would have been a little crazy. And I didn't want to do that. I just don't have that kind of time. So when I was covering old school D&D, even though there was a lot of material, just like every other game, I only purposely put out so much. Like, so if I'm covering a game, if you think it's like, oh, he didn't cover this, he didn't say this. Dude, that's by design. And I'm very open about that. And I say it in almost every stream, right? When I do these games and stuff like that. I tell people I do want to do more than one stream on just about every game I'm talking about. So if there's a game with extended books outside of the main editions I'm covering, I want to leave those books alone because I do want to do a stream on them later, like on the same game. And it's like I want fresh material when I go to hit that. So it's not that I'm messing up my coverage on the game. It's just I'm only covering a certain area of the game, like maybe the core, like the old school edition, right? Like the core of it. And then we'll get over. It's like second edition when I covered that. Given all the settings and modules and everything, man, that could have took 6 or 8 hours to try to honestly do a stream on all the material for second edition, the splat books, the whole nine. It would have been crazy. Given how I covered it, though, I can keep going back and doing streams on extended material related to second edition, related to even the other games as well, which is something I do with every game I'm going at. I purposely leave things out, right? And then, some people will say, well, why didn't you mention this? Or why didn't you bring this up? Or why didn't you talk about this detail? Right? It's like, dude, we just might not have the exact same take. I'm not missing out on facts, but I might not mention the details that you think are important to what's going on. That's going to happen. And there's some issues around certain games. It could be drama or something history. Unless I feel like it's necessary talking about the game to bring up the drama, I won't. I mean, the only reason I brought up any drama is related to Dave and Gary when it comes to old school, Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax when it came to old school, is because it's just a detail where there was a split between them. And I thought that was important to mention. But a lot of times there's drama around games I'm covering I just don't even bring up because I don't think it's necessary for the way I want to cover the game. It's just unnecessary to bring that detail up. So I don't. After this, we'll get into the bit that I have written down. Now, it's in the middle of the day, so I don't know if there's going to be any real-life background noise that I'm not used to. I usually do my streams later at night to avoid a lot of background noise. Given where I live, I live around military and other things like that, so that can be an issue. And there doesn't need to be anybody around watching me because I spent years getting on a stage, talking to people where there's no chat and I'm just interacting. And I record videos, so I don't mind coming on live and just talking like this with nobody around. And when I came back to streaming, I had to grind my way up because when I came back, I was very unpopular for dramatic reasons. And I knew people would have a laugh at it, but I worked really hard. I said, okay, I don't care. I can do stage talking and all that. I'll get up just like I would, on stage, talk with nobody around. And I'll keep doing those streams, whether people laugh or not, until I pick up people that want to watch. And I did. It took me a couple of streams. I got somebody, and it was just a slow grind of streams up where now I have a pretty consistent audience that comes around at night, at least a few people that are guaranteed to show up. And maybe some people that don't like me. But yeah, where the content is hot right now and people want to see this stuff, I just want to cover it and make it fun. Make it fun, right? And once I go into the reading, all this casual part goes away. I'm a smoker. I try not to involve this so much in my content anymore, smoking, right? I do it depending on if I'm really in the mood and I'm talking off the top of my head in the video. You might see me light one of these up. But for the most part, I try to avoid it when I'm doing certain things. Now, here's another thing. I get accused of reading AI because people will hear mistakes and everything. I'm like, no, that's human error. I got to remind people. I wrote 2 games, right? 2 tabletop role-playing games on the market. I had a period of time where I was trying to put out short stories. I wrote probably like 90. So I know how to fluff up text, add a statement in there that's interesting, do all that. What I really did is the only thing I've ever done with AI as far as doing these, just to let you know. When you hear me reading the thing, it's all me writing it out. But the blueprint for how I do these streams was something I got off a friend last year. A friend of mine was doing these Amazon books, little books. He wanted to write them out, but he didn't know how to write them out. So he went to ChatGPT and asked, how would I go about writing these books out? Not to get ChatGPT to actually write the books for him, but just a blueprint of how to do it. I've never written out a stream before. I didn't want a script, right? I didn't want that, but I wanted to get the facts right. So how would I go about putting together a stream? And I went to ChatGPT and I asked for a blueprint on how I would do it. And it gave me a blueprint, just ideas for like put bullet points here. You could put little parts in. And I said, okay, I'll start doing that. And last year I started writing all the streams like pre-written so I can edit, so I can do fluff. Remember, I've done 2 games. I had a period of time where I was trying to put out short stories, like pretty much like 90 of them. It never went anywhere, but I did a crap load of writing at the time. So yeah, it's all mine, all mine. Any errors you hear, it's not AI errors, it's Steven errors, right? I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes when I write these things out. It happens. I try not to let that happen. But here we are. So let's go into what I'm covering today, which is old school Dungeon Masters for D&D. Now, again, I got this free time because outside of some drama, I wasn't sure. I was trying to offer to run BECME at an online event. And I had left the group because I figured if you didn't take part in the event, you didn't stay in the group. I misunderstood. I guess I upset somebody when I left. Whatever, okay, so they blew up. But I didn't know I caused any trouble. And then I went ahead and said, okay, because I wasn't getting the free time for it. I'd asked for free time for it, but suddenly out of nowhere, because I'm a hard-working person, the people that could give me the free time said, okay, you deserve the free time. And they gave it to me, but it's at the point where there's already drama around the event. So I'm like, okay, I got all this free time to run BECME, but now I'm like 2 weeks of free time. I offered my in-person groups like additional sessions this month, like at least 1 each. So I'm going to do that with the 2 weeks of like free time. But I got this weird free time where I could have ran a bunch of stuff online. But oh well, it is what it is. So we're covering Dungeon Masters. Okay, so like I said, I don't wear glasses. I don't fake that I'm reading this stuff. I just do it because it's being authentic, being in front of you. I don't care. And that's just how it is. Plus, I got to get used to this stuff. So it's almost like I'm just practicing this stuff live in front of you, getting used to it through grind and hard work, right? How old school Dungeon Masters created tension. Old school D&D didn't need complex systems to create tension. It came from one thing: the constant feeling that you could lose at any time. Information was limited. Players didn't get full clarity. No obvious answers. No highlighted threats. No, this is the encounter signal. They had to ask questions, probe the environment, pay attention. Uncertainty creates tension. They don't know what's going on, so it's not like being informed. And where you're just not sure of anything you're seeing, it can become tense right away. Are you supposed to go have that encounter? Imagine if you're new to old school D&D and none of this is explained to you, and the DM is not giving you the heads up on how you're supposed to play the game or how you should approach it, be cautious and all that. They're going to let you learn the hard way. The world didn't scale to you. Encounters weren't balanced. You could run into something way stronger or something trivial. The key was you had to figure it out. Not every fight was meant to be won. Time was always pressuring you. Old school play tracked time. Torches burned out. Resources ran low. Wandering monsters appeared. If you moved too slow, things got worse. That constant pressure builds tension. Now, we're focused on how old school DMs build tension. And these are the ways I'm talking about. You not knowing something, and then pressure again from like things like running out of resources, your light burning out of the dungeon, whatnot. This stuff was a threat to you constantly, so you had to really watch what you were doing. Resources mattered. Every decision had a cost. Light, food, spells, hit points. You weren't just exploring, you were managing survival. Running low creates stress. Failure had real consequences. When things went wrong, you lost gear, you lost progress, you lost characters. No safety net. That meant every decision mattered. The dungeon was hostile by default. The environment itself was dangerous. Traps, hidden threats, unclear layouts, even empty rooms weren't safe. Tension never fully dropped. Players had to make the call. The DM didn't tell you what to do. Players had to decide, do we push forward? Do we retreat? Do we risk it? That responsibility creates pressure. Combat was a last resort. Fighting wasn't always the best option. It was risky. It drained resources. It could go bad fast. So players had to think, should we even fight this? Old school DMs didn't create tension with mechanics. They created it by making the world matter and letting players deal with the consequences. So that rhythm right there is how you create tension. And that tension, it creates fear, it creates drama, but it keeps you focused on the game. When you don't know what's going on, you got to pay attention, right? You're going to be, as they say, immersed. And if you're not, well, you're going to probably die carelessly. Well, your character is. It was not a game that was going to be nice to you in this area. So that's how old school DMs created tension. Now on to another section. Why old school dungeon masters didn't protect players. See, I told you it's daytime. I can't. The background noise. It's a gamble here. Now, old school DMs didn't protect players, not because they were trying to kill them, but because protecting them would have broken the game. The DM wasn't responsible for outcomes. Old school mindset. The DM runs the world. The players deal with it. That means the DM doesn't save you. The DM doesn't adjust things behind the scenes. What happens, happens. This is why, as an old school DM, when I hear about people fudging, I'm very sour about it, because the mindset of an old school DM is to just let things happen, right? That's the danger of old school dungeon mastering. And most fudging is not towards saving an NPC. Most of the time, the DM fudges towards saving the characters, right? And that completely is opposed to old school D&D DMs. How you do this, how you create tension, why it's dangerous. And if you keep fudging and saving people, you start taking away from that, right? Protection removes meaning. If the DM protects players, like through fudging, bad decisions don't matter. Risk disappears, consequences fade. And once that happens, success stops meaning anything. Here's being handed the game, right? The game was built on risk. Old school D&D assumes you might die, you might fail, you might lose everything. That's not a flaw. That's the foundation. Remove that and you remove the tension. This is why when people mention fudging the dice to me, I'm just like, I just say, screw that. Like I roll out in the open on purpose, just to pressure myself to resist ever doing something like that, right? I just roll out in the open so players can see I've been doing that since 1991. I've never rolled dice behind, even if they don't know why I'm rolling it, I never roll it behind the screen. I've just never done that. I started off by just rolling in front because that's how my original DM did it for me, right? Players were expected to protect themselves. Instead of relying on the DM, players had to think ahead, ask questions, manage risk, know when to retreat. They had to, not that I had to give them a warning. Survival was a skill that you learn through experience as a player. See, you might come in as a first-time player and you're going through all this heat, you're losing characters. That's part of the learning experience. And what you do is you learn what you shouldn't do, right? You learn to be cautious. You learn to survive. The world had to feel real. If the DM steps in to protect players, the world bends, outcomes feel forced, threats feel fake. Old school games avoided that by letting the world stay consistent. You don't save people. It built better habits. Because there was no protection, players became more cautious, as they should, more creative, to survive. Really have to face the risk and face everything else and face the consequences. So when they come in with new characters, now you got to be more clever, more creative, more aware, more socially aware of what's going on. You might carelessly walk into something, and then you find out by being careless, that's how you walked into it. You got to stop being careless. They learn quickly. Mistakes cost you. This is a foundational mindset of old school D&D. So again, when I hear people casually talking about fudging, I'll be like, fudging is cheating. And they'll be like, no, it's not. And I'll be like, yeah, but it's cheating in my mind because I'm a true TSR old school dungeon master. The whole game is built around not doing that, right? That's the bad thing to do for old D&D. So when people talk about fudging, I'm just like, I don't do that. I don't do that in any game. And I've always rolled the dice in front of my players, right? Because I want to be true to what my DM was true to. And I like the experience, and it made me a better player. So it's always improved my players by actually facing the consequences. Another thing I'll add in is they talk about horror games. Well, I'm like, the real horror game is D&D. But scaring players is not hard when you just let them face the heat. When they get used to you being a fair-minded DM where you just let things happen. Well, after a certain point, you have experienced players. You can say down the road, you see a shadow that's somewhat moving behind a wall, right? And your players will be like, whoa, there's a shadow moving? So suddenly they're on edge. If you mention just about anything to them, they're going to be wary and aware. That is best for a horror game. So if you're a DM who has a relationship with your players where you let things happen, scaring with the horror game becomes like breathing air because they just know if there is something scary, you're going to let it go. It wasn't about killing players or the characters. This is important. Old school DMs weren't trying to wipe parties. They were not interfering. There's a difference between running a dangerous world and trying to win as a DM. When I hear about adversarial DMs, I'm like, it's unnecessary. The game is already made to take on the characters. And what is an adversarial DM? What is that? Like, it's like, okay, me versus players. Hey, player. Yeah, your character falls to his knees. What? And this is how much authority I have. So this is where I start seeing it as pointless, me versus player character. What are you talking about? Falls to his knees. What? Your character starts choking. Huh? Your character collapses. The character is dead. I win. What? That's a joke, DM versus players. The game is already versus the characters. The game takes care of it. Just be a fair DM. The game takes care of everything. You don't need to be adversarial. Nothing. Game just takes care of it like breathing air. You are a referee. You are the middleman between the threats of the game that the game has already created to put in, towards the characters and the characters. That's all you are, right? The idea of being adversarial is like, the game is already tough enough. What am I going to try? Like, I'm going to add some extra goblins in. What is it that I'm trying to do to be against you, other than just giving the game to you and making that challenge you the way it should? I'm sorry. I just got to say, I think the whole concept of DM versus player thing is stupid. And old school D&D, it's just the idea of it just dumb. The game is already made to be against you. You don't got to worry about that. The real difference today, Modern expectations. DMs protect the experience. DM ensures the fun. DM smooths things out. Old school expectations. DM presents the world. Players create the outcomes with their actions and decisions. Old school DMs didn't protect players because the moment they did, the game stopped being about player decisions. That's so important. Let the game go. Let the players compete with whatever the game is throwing at them, right? That's all you had to do. You don't protect, you don't do nothing. And through that, the game happens. One of the easy, I don't know, old school DMing is so easy, like breathing air. I don't even see the difficulty people have sometimes when I hear them talk about this stuff. Okay. The secret to making players cautious. You don't make players cautious by telling them to be careful. You make them cautious by proving that carelessness has consequences. Don't warn them. Don't warn them. Let them learn. Telling players, be careful, this place is dangerous, does nothing. Players become cautious when they experience something going wrong. A trap goes off. A bad call costs them. A situation turns fast. One real consequence teaches more than 10 warnings. It's powerful for the player to face the consequence than it is for you to give them a warning. It means nothing. That's what that means, right? Consequences must be real. If players believe the DM will save them, mistakes won't matter. They stop being cautious. And you want them to be cautious because it is a dangerous game. It's not a just run around, fight everything. So you need them to play in a way that sort of lets them face the reality of the game, what the game is throwing at them. So let damage happen. Let plans fail. Let losses stick. No consequences equals no caution. They don't learn, they don't improve as players. Information must be earned. Don't hand everything over. Make players ask questions, look closer, test things. When information isn't free, players slow down and think. Nothing's just obvious to them. They have to dig, they have to figure out, like, it's perception check would be a great way of sort of criticizing the use of that nowadays. Old school wasn't a perception check. Doesn't mean you want to get something in the vein of an intelligence check, but it'd be like this. You need to interact with the scene. So I tell you a room, I tell you the details of the room, and I expect you to make an effort looking around. Now, maybe your effort does just get you straight to the item. But if you make the effort and you look around, even if you're not getting close to it, but you're making the effort, I'll give you a check. I'll give you an intelligence check. But it has to come along with you trying to interact with the room and actually find the thing, right? Not just a giveaway perception check. It doesn't improve you. It doesn't make you think. It's really important to have players think throughout the game, because later parts of the game, when they run into major things where they got to think through puzzles, challenges, the final guy, later when they run into that, you want their minds active the whole time. Because if you're just like perception check and their minds are shut down and they get to a challenging spot, it's like being cold. Like they're not warmed up thinking. Trust me, if you just throw a big thing down from them, they're just not ready for it. And I've seen it so many times where I see, especially new addition groups, where it's like there's a total party kill in a way that just sort of shocks them because they haven't been pressured to think. And then suddenly the DM is like, oh, here's a major threat. You got to figure this out. What's going on? And they're like, what? It's good to have your players actively thinking throughout the session. Keep threats unpredictable. If everything is balanced and unexpected, players feel safe. They take risks casually. That's what you see with the new WotC additions. But if not every fight is winnable, not every situation is clear, players start thinking before acting. This is the cautiousness, right? It's where you're creating caution, and caution is just good for old school D&D. This is what you want. It's like the video I did about monsters, where recently, where the monsters are all about getting you to change how you play a dungeon, because realistically, the designers want you to play the dungeon that way, but if it's your first time, you're going to be maybe careless. But when you finally encounter the threat and you go through it the next time you play, now you play the dungeon in a different way, because now you know that thing could be down the hall, or the mimic could be the chest, right? It's when you finally encounter these things, it just changes how you approach the game after that, which is, it should have been the way you were playing from the get-go, but you got to learn. Reward caution. This is key. When players are careful, let it work. Let it save them. Let it give them an advantage. If caution doesn't pay off, players stop doing it. So first, you want them to learn, maybe the hard way, to be cautious. Maybe they got to lose a character. But when they start being cautious, start actively going, yes, that is the way I want you to play the game. So you start really trying to give them opportunities, again, advantages. Don't rush the game. Give players time to think, plan, ask questions, but balance it with pressure, time, resources, danger. There's wandering monsters. There's all kinds of little things already happening that you can just throw in as pressure. But whatever time they do have, expect them to be asking questions, planning, and thinking. Now, like I said in an earlier video, if they start asking questions like, what can I try to go through the door? They're doing, I guess you would say, the mother may I thing, right? I don't say, oh, you can roll a dice or you got a skill. Like, I don't answer the question. Here's what I'll do right away. Well, how do you want to go through the door? How do you want to get through the door? Like, I ask them to explain the action, right? So I won't answer. I'm telling them I want the action. That's to get them used to just going, oh, I got to state the action, not ask the question. Exactly. Okay, that type of pressure, all that will create meaningful decisions because you got them thinking, doing stuff. Stay consistent. If the world behaves consistently, players learn patterns. They adjust behavior. If it's random or constantly adjusted, players stop trying to read the situation. So you want to be consistent as a DM. Rules with everything. Like, this is what they run into. Let them learn what to expect through experience. So then when they get to it next time, they can go take a guess, because they can trust that it will work pretty much similar in the way that it worked before. Because if not, if they really feel like everything you're doing is random, like every time you get here and do this, it's a different dice roll. Okay, well then screw it. Like, their attitudes will drop in a bad way. Players don't become cautious because you tell them to be. They become cautious because the game teaches them to be. That's very important. So let me say that again, just say it right. Players don't become cautious because you tell them to be. They become cautious because the game teaches them to be. That's, again, goes back to that monster video. But this is also how the game is meant to be played out, right? They're going to face consequences if they're careless. So cautiousness is how you play the game. It's how you're meant to play the game. There's a bit of balance. I mean, there's times when you run in, sometimes, very few times, when it's the strategy can be effective to run at the enemy instead of holding back. So it's a balance of learning through experience, right? Okay, last part, because this is not it's not like the stream is done right away, but this is a little section. Like I said, I got all this free time. I got this free time for an event that there was a lot of drama, and so I'm just not there. I'm not running back me like I wanted to. So here I am, and I get all the free time in the world. Without doing anything, I said, okay, I got enough natural light. I'll do something unique, do 2 streams a day. I got a bunch of new people that sub to the channel, so I just want to serve them as much as I can. If I can give them a little bit of extra time in the morning, why not? Very rare, unique thing for me. Okay, last section, talking about old school DMs. Why saying no made you a better dungeon master. Modern advice tells DMs to say yes to players. Old school DMs said no all the time, and it made their game better. No defines the world. If everything is allowed, the world has no boundaries. Nothing feels grounded. Anything can happen at any time. When a DM says no, the world gains rules. Limits become real. The setting feels consistent. No forces better decisions. If players can do anything, they stop thinking carefully. They throw ideas at the wall. When you say no, they adjust, they rethink, they get creative within their limits. Constraint creates smarter play. No protects game flow. Constant yes leads to long debates, stretching rules, slowing everything down. A clear no ends confusion, keeps things moving, maintains momentum. No builds DM authority. Old school expectation. The DM makes the call, not the rule book. I don't know how many times I said this. The book doesn't run the game, you do. New school, the book runs the game. Old school, the dungeon master is king. The dungeon master runs the game. So the DM makes the call, not the rule book, not the table vote. When you say no confidently, players understand boundaries, decisions become faster, the game stays under control. Now I'm teaching you, if you don't know nothing about old school mindset for dungeon masters, I am teaching it to you now, right? So I'm teaching you what it is to think like an actual TSR old school dungeon master. Like this is the pure sense. I'm going through it all. It doesn't take long, but it is, if you want to know how an old TSR DM thinks, I'm the real deal. I'm from the old school, right? So I'm an actual TSR in the era DM, and I did this lots. And this is the mindset I have as a dungeon master still today. Okay. No prevents abuse of the system. Players will always push limits, creative ideas, rule bending, edge cases. If everything becomes yes, the game breaks. Balance, the balance that you actually need for the game disappears. Tension drops. A well-placed no keeps everything intact. It wasn't just no, it was no, but. Good DMs didn't just shut things down. They often use no, but you could try this instead. So if it was an absolute no on the thing, but there might be something in the middle there, as long as you're trying and not asking mother may I questions, of course the DM might say no, but here you can try this. So it's not to shut everything down. It's inappropriate to do that in all cases. It's just from experience and balancing it out, right? Again, that keeps player agency. So it allows, the players to have a bit more agency, creativity, forward movement without breaking the game. It's like a limitation control factor. The real difference today, modern advice, always say yes. Support player ideas. Old school approach, say yes when it makes sense. Say no when it doesn't. The difference is judgment. That's experience. Good DMs, you learn how to balance out your view on things, right? You can say yes. It's not that mean you don't say yes, but you got to know when to say no to or when to say no, but, right? Saying no didn't make old school DMs restrictive. It made their worlds consistent. And that's what made player choice matter. Okay? I'm not gone, but that's it. That's it. I'm back to casual time here. So I just gave you those 4 parts I just covered. Anybody watches that, start to finish, and you don't need more information. I just gave you the pure mindset of an old school dungeon master. Had to create caution, tension, everything properly. And that gets players immersed. The caution, the tension, because they're focused on playing the game. They're not focused on twiddling their thumbs around. And the game is on edge. So it's meant to get you to focus. And if you don't, you twiddle your thumbs, you lose a character. You probably lose your thumbs too. Yeah, again, the only reason I'm here is I got 2 weeks. Like I see, I went and joined, I don't want to say names, but I went and joined an event there. I was going to think about DMing. And of course, there's a bunch of BS around it about me, which is just not true. But either way, I left the group when I thought I could not take part in the event. I thought the only people that would be on that server were people that were involved in the event. So I couldn't involve myself. So I left because I was told no when I asked for free time. But then people change their mind. They're like, well, you know what, Stephen, you work really hard. If anyone earns free time here, you do. So they gave it to me. And I didn't know there was drama at the time when I first got it. I found out there was drama. Somebody freaked out when I left. And I guess they misunderstood why I left. They thought I left to be some negative person. Of course, this is before a bunch of drama came in from a lie, right? But I was going to run back me if I could. And finally got the free time. I was like, okay, I can join back up at the event. That's great. But no, I can't because the person freaked out when I left. And then later, because of some strange image, I mean, it would have been decent if somebody came to me privately. Because if you have something like an image, if you're going to make an accusation about anything in this world, if you have an image and you don't have the real thing, and I'm a public figure, well, come to me privately. Give me a chance to respond to what's going on. That's all before you make it public. Instead of acting like an image is an actual receipt. That's what happened. There was an image of a receipt of people, instead of giving me a fair opportunity, acted like the image was real. And that was on purpose. I'll just say this. The person that created the drama originally, who really went off on it, they were averaging 13 viewers per stream. And right after the heat with me, ironically, right as I'm getting somewhere, suddenly they're back up to 30, 40 off the heat. But for many streams before they pulled off the images, absolute true, they were averaging 13 viewers per stream. So, and they weren't happy about it. So the heat got their viewership back up. I don't know how long that will last them, but they were happy with the outcome, and it was an accusation towards me that it's like character assassination in public. You should never do that. If I got an image from somebody, if it's not like it's just an image, it's not even a real receipt. There's no way I would, even if I don't like you, I would never try to assassinate your character in public. I'd go to you privately and go, man, what's up with this? Can we talk? Like, I have an image that shows you did something really bad. Because images can be altered. And I'm a person who has a lot of people that don't like me around certain places. So it's really easy to assume, because they've done crazy stuff for 6 years towards me, that likely somebody would just make this up, like they made up stuff in the past, right? This could have came to me. I thought it would have been decent to come to me. Give me a chance in private, in an honest way to respond to any accusation. If you got an image and not a real receipt, that's all I would ask. It's a shame that happened, because people went on to believe that for sure. And I tried to answer it, but I gave up. I think I put out proof that proves, at least to the people that are reasonable, they all believe me on the whole story, which is good. The rest don't. But it's people that don't already like me. So what am I supposed to do? It's like, oh, an image is enough to accuse me of something, even though I'm a public figure. It's very damaging and irresponsible. And again, the person that initially made the accusation was averaging 13 viewers per stream. And suddenly after the accusation, their stream goes up. And this attack happens just as I hit 1,000, just as I'm having prominent interviews with certain people on my channel. I'm doing prominent interviews, and just as I get somewhere, now there's a major accusation against me, but I'm a public figure. It's like, it wasn't real. And now there's an event that I'm cut off from that I was initially getting time off for. And I'm accused of big accusation related to the event, but I'm like, anyone who knows me, even some of the people that don't like me came by and said, I don't like you, Steven or Condor, but I've known you for like 6 years. I know you would never do that. So I don't even like you. And I know they didn't even need proof. They were just like, I just know. I'm like, yeah, I know. I tried, but what I found out is fair people will be fair to me, which I'm happy with. But people that don't like me, it's no matter what I do, they're just set in their way. So I'm like, okay. But it tells me who they are. So it's like, you want to play a short game? And in a year, I won't forgive that. In a year, things will look different, right? And I don't think the heat will hold up people the way they wanted it to. They got high off of going after me for a week, but that high is coming down really quickly. So it's like a big high, and then and everyone thinks in the short term. It's like you get hot, you get what you want for the short term. They thought they were going to run me off, but I'm like, I don't know. You're not going to run me off. I've been here for 6 years, and I've had worse attacks aimed at me. Like, even though a lot of people are new to what's happening right now, but I'm like, they haven't been around for like the last 6 years. I'm like, do you guys know this has happened to me multiple times? Do you know there's certain YouTubers with big channels that weren't just these guys that were doing whole streams about me like 6 years ago, and then a year and a half after that, and then about a year after that? So it's like I'm on like my 5th run of major accusations, where the other times people just honestly understood I was not guilty of other things, right? It was obvious lies. But this time it was pretty major. They had an image of a receipt. I'm like, is that enough to crucify somebody? You don't even have a real receipt. You have an image. If you're a decent human being, if there's any honor, if you're honest at all, and it's a public figure like me, you go, I get an image. I don't get an actual receipt. I'll go talk to Steven in private. Ask him. Give me a chance to respond. Hey, no, that's not me, and you don't got real evidence. So I'm accused of doing something, but no real evidence has ever been provided. No, zero. Did they get a real receipt? Nope. They even have an image of, I guess, like stating something on Discord, where it's an image again. It shows me saying something, but I'm like, anybody could have just took me stating something on Discord, cut things out, go to AI, put up fake words. So it's like, again, it's an image. Does that prove anything? No evidence of nothing. So it's a shame, because I missed out on an event, and I thought people were pretty cool. At least I thought that were at first, but I sort of think it works out good in the long run, because in the long run, my image will be okay. So it's like a short-term hit where I'll be fine in the long run. So I'm good. I'm used to this over 6 years. But it's just, it's so stupid. I think it makes them look bad, right? But it also has cured me of something. I thought certain people were honest and decent. And I was like, you want to know what? I'm glad to find out this way that they're not. That they're petty human beings. Petty, shallow human beings. It was good to find out this way who they are. It's like, okay, at least I know who you are now. All right? It's a shame. There's even people out here, I swear, if I get an image sent to me of a receipt, even of people I really don't like, I know how damaging it would be to make some accusation. I would just go to them in private. Here, man, I got an image. It's not real proof of you doing anything. It's an image. You want to respond to it? Right? And if they said no, what could I say? I'm not going to sit here and say an image is proof they did something. Obviously, people that would believe that, if I put that out there, are people that would hate the person already before I ever put out the image. So it just proves to me, okay, you didn't like me. Fair enough. Now I know. But I know you didn't like me before the image was ever shown up. I even tried to put out footage. I talked to a family lawyer, and he told me what to do. And I put it where there's no editing, and you could tell there's no editing in the footage. And every fair person that watched it said, yeah, we didn't need that. We know you didn't do it. But sure, it does prove that you're completely innocent. It was a receipt that shows that I got money in March on PayPal. So my family lawyer said, you want to show where you're signing in at the start of the footage. You want to do the whole thing. Sign in, make sure there's no information that's going to show up that isn't already public. So I made sure all that was clear. I did the run before I actually filmed it. Then I filmed it where I sign in, I go to my history. Now, PayPal, you can't alter the history in PayPal. So even if I block somebody, their name, like all this stuff would still show up properly, even if I blocked them out. So I can't alter the history. And I showed it's the last 90 days, which would cover the March fake receipt. And I received no money because I never did anything wrong. I wouldn't do that. And everyone who's fair with me that doesn't already hate me. I think what happened is with some people, they just averaging 13 viewers per stream. Well, complaining about YouTube holding them down. I'm like, YouTube publicly is on X trying to tell this guy, it's not us, dude. It might be your content. You talk about one thing mostly. People might have got bored. And a lot of nights this person is streaming, other people are streaming. So if you're trying to split an audience and you're doing one piece of content, and you're saying the same thing you said last year and the same thing you said the year before, yeah, people might get bored. You're down to 13 average viewers. They heat with the lies about me. Again, got people up. That's all. And people were looking to crucify me. I'm like, oh, I'm not going away, but all you've done is, again, show me who you are. And in the long run, now we can never make peace. It's so far over the line that there's no peace there. That's like a bridge burnt too far. There's no peace to be made. I can't forgive that, right? So it's like, hey, I'll be fine a year. My reputation will be fine. So I don't know what that was all about. And I'm used to this over 6 years, so I'm really patient. They don't get this. It's like it's attacks on me, streams on me. Guys are like, we're doing streams on Condor. I'm like, yeah, like the guys did 6 years ago. And then a year and a half later. And then a year later. And then half a year later. I'm like, dude, this is like routine. You're just new YouTubers doing it to me. I know it's new to you, but it's like pretty normal. I think a lot of it's, I got to be honest, jealousy. But that's just how it comes across to me. So it's not ego. I think people are jealous. It's like, I don't need to play someone else's footage to entertain you. I can just talk. So, and they don't like that. They'll be like, well, you got to say it all the time. Well, look at all the stuff you say all the time. So why not? If you can poke me, why can't I poke back a little bit? I don't know. I think it's fair game if you want to have an attitude, right? Oh, man. And I'm 45 going on 46. I'll be 46 May 3rd. I don't know what these guys are like on here, but I'm like, I'm a grown man. Like, I'm not going to act like a child because I'm in the I see guys in the tabletop role-playing game hobby, and they'll talk to you like a young person who's mad at you. Like, oh, it's him. I'm like, is that how a grown man behaves and talks? I'm 45. I've grown up with 7 uncles. A bunch of my family are in Navy and military, right? They would feel humiliated in life if they ever behaved that way and got caught by people in public. I'm watching grown men behave like children. I'm like, you're really okay with talking like that? But I guess they are. They think it's great. I'm like, okay. I'm like, you sound like 14-year-olds to me. But I'm 45. I can't play that game. And I had to give up all the talk and smack. I'm a little disappointed because I got all this time off to do something that I should be doing. I should be running Beckby. I wasn't trying to get anybody to play my skull horn. And I heard, like, they said, well, they did say to me, you're getting it wrong. It wasn't about a game. Because at first I was saying, well, I wasn't charging for a game. Well, you weren't charging for a game. Well, dude, the reason I don't know is because I didn't do it. I'm guessing what the accusation is because I have no idea. And the reason I have no clear idea about the accusation is because I didn't actually do that. That's why the accusation confused me. I don't do that stuff. I'm not even a techie person. They were saying, you're setting up this. I'm like, dude, everyone who knows me, even people that don't know me, don't like me for 6 years, all of them have just come out, told me straight up, we know because we know you're fucking stupid. I hate, it's not something I brag about, but I'm just really fucking dumb when it comes to doing some things online. And they know right away, yeah, Steven can't do that. There's this Condor DM is not doing that shit because he's too fucking dumb when it comes to this shit. And they know that about me. Even guys that don't like me, that are still fair to me, know that about me. So they knew right away the accusation was just without any proof. They were like, yeah, it's not real. I'm like, yeah, I know it's not real, dude. I'm not even that kind of human being. Like, I would never, ever rip somebody off of money. And I knew it was fake, so it's like they were going, well, somebody's getting ripped off. And I'm like, well, I hope somebody isn't, but I'm pretty sure everyone's safe because it's not real. It's an image. Because if you ask people right now, okay, do you guys got the real receipt of Steven doing the thing? What do you think everybody would have to tell you? All the people that have been going on saying I'm guilty, what would they have to say? No, we actually don't got a receipt. See, like, if you were an outsider being fair-minded, just coming in, not knowing, just going, Okay, so I'm assuming you guys got the actual receipt if you've accused him of this. They'd actually have to be like, no, we got an image. See, somebody without a dog in the fight, without a biased mindset against me, they would call bullshit on that right away. They'd be like, all you have is an image and you're crucifying this guy publicly? It's character assassination and you're doing it just to get some heat on your channels and more views? It's short-term thinking on YouTube. That's all it is. Hey, it's not my fault somebody with almost 10K subscribers was averaging 13 viewers per stream. Your content gets boring, you're doing the same shit. It's just how it goes, dude. Not my fault. And there's some other guys out there that if they didn't do this short-term stuff, they really, like, they have a hard time coming up with content. And if they're not playing somebody else's video and going on, they're boring. Like, they'll go on another stream and I'll be told what numbers they get, and they get the same numbers as a smaller sort of mid-sized YouTuber. I'm like, isn't that guy like over 8K or like eight grand? He's almost a 10K himself. Like, Matt, they can complain about Matt Colville, but I'm like, well, here's the difference. Here's how you know Matt Colville has real talent. He has well over 500,000 people following him. If he shows up on the stream, numbers follow him. And people will find him as interesting on any random stream he goes on as they would be watching his own stream. But when you see guys that need to use other people's footage and need to use cheap tricks, when they suddenly go on the stream and they're not using the cheap tricks, they get small YouTuber numbers. Like, it doesn't follow them. It doesn't reflect the number of subs on their actual channel because they're propping themselves up fake bullshit, right? It's like, I spent a lot of time on other people's channels entertaining their audiences. Over 6 years, it's always true. It's like, all right, you played my video. Ooh, at least your audience wasn't bored. But when you don't got my video up or somebody else's, suddenly you don't get like 100 and some likes where you go. All that isn't happening. Mid. Just reflects reality. Right. I just don't need to do that. And I'm quite happy and proud that that's not something I have to do on YouTube. I can just get on here and be genuinely honest. And I'll be accused of everything. I'll be told I'm lying about everything. What am I supposed to do? People don't like me. Fair-minded people do. So what I've just decided is to go, okay, if there's a certain audience that's just not going to give me a fair shake, I'm just not going to make them important. And I think that pisses off a certain audience online here. They want to matter. They want to be important, and they want control. And when I go, okay, I don't want you anymore, they're just like, does that mean we don't matter anymore? Like, this guy doesn't. That's it. That's happened. Your whatever sway you thought you had is gone. Because I'm no longer trying to attract you to my channel. That's it. So disappointed with that whole thing. And we're at the 2-minute count. So one of these, because I'm just talking to you guys. I don't mind. See, people like all need chat and interaction. I've done stage talks with people. So unlike a lot of the YouTubers on here that really depend on you talking to them to keep talking because they're boring, I've done stage things where I just stand in front of an audience and just talk to them. Now I can do that, be interesting, and I know I am. So I can talk too, as you can tell, like a machine. I'm pretty good at interviews, which is a shame because my interviews are quite effective for people. They do spotlight them. It is good on them. There's some people that are going to miss out on opportunities to be interviewed by me, which would probably help out them on YouTube and selling games and stuff like that. But you got a shallow audience that anytime I ask somebody to do an interview, they'll go right after that person right away, give them heat. Like, don't go on his thing, but I'm like, but it'd be good for them to go on my thing. Right? Oh, yeah. We're last little run here, Philo. Surprise stream, yes it is. Because I got a bunch of time off and I'm bored. I'm still doing the stream tonight on roleplay, but today's stream was on old school DMs, given the mindset of a TSR dungeon master, sort of educating people, right? Because I hear a lot of talk. I'm like, oh, if you wonder why I oppose fudging dice, it's because the game is all about risk. And fudging dice is something that truly opposes the old school mindset of a real TSR dungeon master, right? It's just because you're meant to let things happen, not to fudge, right? Very important. very important to old school DMing. So when I hear about people always going on about fudging, it was something that was frowned upon back in the actual old school era. Now it's talked about like, I fudge, I don't know. Back in the old school era, if you got caught fudging, you'd be called out or criticized because it was anti what the game was. You don't protect players. Well, then you know what I'm talking about if you did DMing. No, I didn't see Rory. Unless you're going to say Gary Gygax was wrong. So I just took notes off Gary Gygax. This is his thing for old school DMs. So I'm pretty sure he's right. Pretty sure he's right. That's the code I follow. And Frank Metzner, same attitude as him too. Same copy of Frank. And Tim Kask also had the same mindset. Right. I would love to talk to Matt Colville. I think he's just too big of a figure to give me any attention. I'm just a realist about that. Like I got like 1,000 subs. He has like going on 1 million. Probably doesn't even know I exist. Even if I asked, it probably wouldn't happen ever. Even if he's seen it or somebody who runs whatever he does, we're probably just like, yeah, it's just some small YouTuber. He's not going to give me time. Now, I've never seen him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just never seen him give a smaller content creator. And I'm old school, so he might look at that division as something that has been really opposed to him. Though I think Matt, mindset-wise, is old school. Like when you hear him talk, he's done old school gaming. He has an old school mindset. And when the old school guys were going on to 4th edition, because a lot of old school guys strangely like 4th edition D&D for some reason. That's the game that appeals to him more than 3rd and 5th. I'm like, he has the mindset. If you ever go listen to him, he talks in a lot of cases like a TSR-DM, and he actually disagrees with a lot of the newer edition mindset, the mindset, what they're teaching their DMs. He actually disagrees with a lot of it, and he goes right to old school. Oh, yeah, but Seth is in with certain people, not with me, and I get a bad reputation for that, so that would probably be a no, right? So guaranteed he's connected to people that have really, really spread bullshit about me. As far as Matt Colville, I just don't know. I've just never seen him give that kind of time, and I imagine he's a busy guy. So, geez, I would have to do something quite unique. Like, I think if I got up a bit more and just kept doing neutral content like I'm doing now, yeah, like that's what he sees. And I stopped doing the drama, not responding to any of the crap, right? Other than talk a little bit here, just about stuff without mentioning names, right? But mostly just do the neutral stuff. I think, after a while, I could probably get him to, hey, what's up, dude? But I don't think most of the time he's around social media. I think he's just a super busy guy with like 50 million projects on the go. And life. He's made a shitload of money, right? Seth, again, he's just connected to some people that don't like me. So my reputation is, he probably might know of me, but he probably knows about me based on lies. And I can't fix that because he'll trust certain people. And if they tell him, oh, this guy's no good, I'm cut off. I can never talk to Seth. I'm almost guaranteed that's a cutoff point already, which is a shame because it's not big YouTubers that I really want to do because I'm not looking to grow off the interviews. I have fun doing the interviews. I'm actually looking to spotlight people, have a good time, and in cases where I could help out other guys sell games. There's a certain guy that doesn't agree with me on politics, but I think politics gets in the way. I don't want that to be an issue. He's having a hard time selling his games. He's definitely pushing a new game right now. And I'm like, dude, I wish you would open up. I've asked him a few times, but he just ignores me. But I'd be like, come on, do the interview. I do not sabotage people. I spotlight them. I ask, I think, good questions. I always get complimented after I talk to people. Every person, Max Liao, GM Cody, even Bloodworth, all thanked me for how I went about asking questions, which opened the door for them to talk, promote themselves, promote their ideas, and potentially, if they had something to sell, promote their games. And people, even people that really don't like me, have come along and said, he does the interviews pretty good because I don't make them about me, right? It's like I got a YouTube channel. I can do videos about me all day long. So when I bring them on, it's for fun. And it's because I like to dig in and go, how can I make somebody look good? That's why some guys, when they played along with lies, I was disappointed. There was a, I won't say the whole name, but James guy. I think he doesn't look good on his own, but it's like, give me a guy like that and let me ask questions to him. And I could make him look like a champion because I could just give him the right questions to get him to talk about the right things. And then where he does have value as related to the games and history, I could get him focused on that for an hour or 2 hours on an interview and just make it good, especially if that person can talk, but just on their own, people might not be impressed with that guy, but give them to me. And for at least for the interview, we'll have fun. But I haven't really grown off the interviews at all. It's always a benefit to, like, GM Cody has gotten some more people signing up to him, and I have people privately always telling me, like, I like your GM Cody interview. I'm like, cool, great. I never really gained any subs off them though, and I wasn't looking to. It's not about me. I just like the interviews; they're fun, and so it's better to help out smaller YouTubers than it is to get a big name on here because I'm not looking to. It's like I can grow on my own with my own content, like just me talking. I just don't need the boost from streams. Like I went on a Blood War stream and I lost subs. Stream was good, but I lost subs. I gained none. And it's that part bothered me because I'm like, I don't mind going on your stream and having a good stream with you, but I don't want to go on the stream and get damaged. That's really unprofessional. It's not good for being a YouTuber. And so I just don't want to go on streams where it's going to harm me on here. Like, I'm working really hard to build my channel up. Why bust my ass and then go over help you and I lose subs and I gain 0? That's what happened on the Bloodburst stream. I got 3 of his people that subbed to me. They seen videos the following day that they disagreed with, just gaming opinions, and all 3 of them unsubbed. Now, because there were things said on the side that were lies, 5 of my guys were so unimpressed with what they seen said that even though I built connections with them, they all unsubbed to me. So I went on the thing, and there's guys lying. I realized that's just so unprofessional, just to have a shitstorm on the side. And I had one of my people, Black Rose, went in and got dogpiled on. So my people that like my stuff can't even join a chat because it's sabotage. Like, it would just dogpile on people that like my stuff. So if they try to join the chat and just talk to people peacefully about games and enjoy the interview, they get dogpiled on. So it's like, I had 2 other guys that wanted to talk that would say nothing. They seen Black Rose get jumped and they were like, okay, not speaking. So my people wouldn't even take part in the chat. It was the most unprofessional thing I've seen yet. And I just said to myself, look, I'm not going on a stream if that's the outcome every time. It just doesn't benefit. Like, I'm working hard. Why go on a stream and lose people? It's unprofessional. It's trash. It just means either you know what you're doing on YouTube or you don't. It's like, we're not here to harm each other. I shouldn't have to worry about that. That's unprofessional trash. It's like, no, I'm just not going in where my people can't take part in the chat because of dog piles. And the lies on the side are convincing my people that I built connections with and worked hard to get them to my channel. I have to lose them because of things that aren't true, that are pretty much promoted on the side of the stream the whole time. I was so unimpressed with it. I was like, yeah, I can't just do that. So if I go on streams, it has to be where people just are responsible and going, yeah, okay, that's that bad. I won't let that happen. It's like, okay, if you'll make sure it's just not people fucking dogpiling my people and lying constantly throughout the fucking stream, I'll go on. I'll talk to you, right? But if it's unprofessional trash, because I'm not here to be, I'm not here to chit-chat like people do on Discord. Like, I'm not here to half-ass YouTube. And other people can. That's up to them. I'm fine with that. But I'm here to actually get somewhere. So if you're just some chit-chatting half-assed person on here, well, fair enough, you can be that, but I just won't join your stream. I will not go in for a shit show that hurts me. Why should I? Why should I go on your stream if I'm going to constantly lose the subs that I work hard to get? No good. So that's what happened in Bloodworth. I gained nothing and lost 5 people. That's a no-go. So I've already made a video pointing that out to people. If you want me on the stream, that can't be the outcome every time. And that's the outcome when this is happening. So my people are dogpiled, and the promotion of the lies seems to drive people off my channel. So it's like, no. And you want to know what they say? Well, they'll tell me, well, you should be able to go. No. Look, if you want to half-ass on YouTube and you think you should go on YouTube channels and have all your hard work just blown out of the water, that's up to you. I just don't want to hear the bullshit. I'm no coward, nothing. I have no shame in talking to people. I'm not shy, obviously. Had people on, went on his thing. Not shy, just it's unprofessional trash. I don't care what it's unchained. No, it's unprofessional trash. I lost 5 people. I gained 0. So just not good. That just hurts my hard work on here. Find a YouTuber who's taken building up a following seriously and just see if they want to go on a bunch of streams where they just keep losing people. And if that is for somebody who takes YouTube serious, is that a good strategy to build yourself up by going and gaining nobody and constantly losing subscribers? Nobody would think that's a wise move for a YouTuber taking this serious, which I do. Well, that's where we're at on that, right? But that's an hour and 10 minutes, and I covered old school DM mindset, which I think is good. It's something people should hear. They can understand how I think in the future when they hear me really push back against fudge dice rolls and why I do it, because it's like people, it's like I almost call it cheating, and people are like, well, why do you do that? Well, it's because I'll say I'm an old school DM, but this at least explains it, right? Why I'm like that. And it lets me get some crap off my chest. Okay, tonight is Dungeons and Dragons role play. I want to go over what I'm doing with that stream again. We're going to go into what real old school role play is. It just isn't social interaction. But then we'll look at the sort of more well-known, popular, simple view of role play now. Then we'll see we'll look at that, and then we're going to look at like the trade-off. What's the trade-off for going through character development? Because it leads to character development, which I think is good. But there is a trade-off, and there's a trade-off, and then I'm going to finish it up with what Gary Gygax really thought of role play. Like just a factual, like what he really thought, like the facts on what he thought. So that's tonight on Dungeons and Dragons old school role play, which is the focus. And this weekend I'll be doing more streams like I always do. So it's Tuesdays, Thursdays. Probably won't happen again this way, like in the middle of the day. I'm lucky there wasn't like some big background noise. So I'm very happy with how this worked out. But it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays every week, right? And it's 8 p.m. -4 GMT. Boom. I have streams scheduled to the end of May. That's all. So at the end of May, when I'm just about ready to do my last stream, I'll probably schedule within a month or 2 of streams. I'll keep updating the streams like that, right? I just want to make sure I'm ready to put, I'm prepping streams, getting them ready. So I don't want to just put everything out at once and plan the streams for like a year down the road. But do I have streams just like ideas, concepts, and what I want to do for the next 3 years? Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff for the next 3 years. I'll be doing new school games next year. I'll be doing extensions. Like, again, I never do everything in one. This is why I could have done the DM mindset with the old school D&D stuff. But again, it's like second edition. If I do the splat books, all of them, and if I do the modules and I do everything like the settings, I'd be doing a stream for like 8 hours. To me, by not doing everything in a game all at once, it lets me do streams on the same games later, but with fresh content, right? So if you hear me do a stream on a game and you're like, well, you didn't cover that. Well, that's by design, dude. I'm only covering a certain part. So any expansion books, that's on the next stream I do on that thing, right? So it's fresh content, not repeated stuff, not like light where I almost have nothing to say, right? So I purposely leave stuff out. It was easy with old school D&D because there's just so much. Like I did the stream on Undead. I mean, Undead is very important, but again, if I did a focus on Undead, I'm probably turning those streams into like 4 hours each. And I'm like, I just don't got all the time every night to do just 4 hours. Sometimes I do, depending on the schedule, but at least usually I have 2 hours, for most streams, right? Which is usually the case, but I always go over, right? Just about every time. It's to feed the need. Okay,